I'm Shane with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at and installing etrailer.com's A-frame square tube side handle jack. This jack is going to be a great replacement jack for a trailer jack that may just be a little bit wore out, maybe bent, that if you're looking for a jack that's going to give you plenty of weight capacity for anything you may have loaded on your trailer when you take it off your vehicle. Installation process is pretty straightforward, pretty easy. In my opinion, I like the square tube design myself. This one's going to have a nice black powder coat finish, steel tube. All of your inner parts inside are inside of another tube that goes up inside the outside tube. The dimensions of your outside tube are going to be 2 1/4 inches. Your inside tube is going to be 2 inches. So all of your working parts are actually up inside there. One of the things that sets this apart from like the Bulldog square tube is this fitting right here. The Bulldog is not going to have this fitting, so I think this is a really great upgrade for the square tube jack. This allows you to grease all your inner working parts, which is some of the comments I've read about the Bulldog, is they don't have that fitting, and people have had to drill a hole and put a fitting in there just to grease those parts, because after a couple of years of using it, it starts to get really hard to turn this handle and to crank up the tongue of your trailer or to move it down when you're not using it. So I think that's a great feature. The side handle here, I like this too. This particular one I think is great, having a side handle for a trailer that has a box mounted on it. Makes it very easy to use the jack. Handle's not going to get in the way of the box. There are other types. There is also a top mounted one if you don't like the side handle, that are available. But again, the top mounted one, if you have a box, that top mounted handle is could get in the way, so you just want to watch that. Again, I like the front handle myself. The mounting hardware is not going to come with this jack. However, this jack itself is going to come with the extended foot. So you're going to get a total of 28 3/4 inches of rise. And that 28 3/4 is this extension foot and this inner tube together. Our inner tube holes, they're going to be 3.5 inch center to center between the holes. So we get plenty of adjustability depending on how high or low we want our trailer. This jack is also going to come with a pin and clip. And actually, another comment I want to make about the pin and clip. So you notice right here, this is kind of at an angle. This makes it really easy when you have the pin in place to grab it. Let me flip it around so you can see it. Makes it really easy to pull that off of that pin. So another nice feature with this jack that I really like. Our foot plate is going to be 3 3/4 wide by 7.5 long. You'll notice that it's going to have raised edges. When you compare this to like a flat plate that may not have these raised edges, if you get a flat plate on some softer ground, what's going to happen is that plate is going to sink into the ground and it may be a little bit more difficult to get out. With these raised edges, this is going to help keep the plate from sinking all the way down on the ground. So I like that feature also. Another thing that I really like about this, and another thing that's going to set it apart from like your Bulldog square jack, is this allows you to turn this drop leg sideways. So you notice this hole right here. This is going to allow you to turn this foot to where it's going side to side rather than front to back like we have it here. So it gives you plenty of adjustability there. This jack is going to offer a 3,000 pound lifting capacity and a 5,000 pound support capacity. So it's going to work great for your mid-size trailers. Like you see, we have it here on a utility trailer. Maybe you have an enclosed trailer. Work great for like your boat trailers. It's really going to work well for like your campers, that some of the campers that may have your propane tanks out in the front. With having the handle on the front, we're not going to have to worry about The propane tank's interfering with the movement or the cranking of the jack itself. When you compare that to like your top handle. I've had many times where I've had a top handle and my propane tanks, you're sitting there turning it, not paying attention, and you ram your knuckles right into the top of that tank. And that hurts. So I think the front handle, this jack, in these types of situations, is going to be the best option. It's going to be a great option. So with that being said, let's go ahead and walk through the installation. To start our installation, it's a good idea before you take your old jack out to put some jack stands under your frame to help hold it up. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our extension tube out. Now, if you're putting square tube in a round hole, obviously it's not going to fit. So you're going to have to make some adjustments if you're going to a square tube. Also, the holes from the round tube, if you have existing holes in there, they're not going to match up to the square tube because the square tube is a little bit bigger. So you may have to drill out two of them, two new holes for the plate on the square tube. You're going to take your foot, you're going to set it underneath. We're going to take our jack and we're going to slide it down right on top of the plate, or on top of our extension leg, just like that. Hardware, hex bolt, 2 flat washers and a lock washer. On the nut side, we're going to put a flat washer and a lock washer. Head side, we're going to put a flat washer. Come up like this. Put on our flat washer, lock washer, and their nut. And we'll do that same thing with the 2 remaining holes. Once you get all your hardware in place, go ahead and tighten everything up and you're ready to go. That's going to do it for a look at installation on the etrailer.com A-frame square tube side handle jack.